Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
It's a combination and configuration this car has never seen before. And back in 2006, when this car was alive, the front stretch was the back stretch. Here live from the virtual Phoenix Raceway, it's the SimRacerHub.com Challenge Series Chase Week number 1. Welcome in, everybody. I'm your host, Bradley Cooper, alongside Alex Gagnon all season long. Alex, we made a little mistake last week. I want to correct it now. But here in the points, we're taking the top 17 according to the reset, not the top 12. So mistake on my part. But here we are with the full-fledged points. Chase is activated. Casey Carrington is officially the leader going into week 1.
Yeah, and a critical boost there for Casey Carrington over Gabe Ellison, who falls much closer to Michael Sturgill and the points here than how they ran through the end of the regular season. So big bump up for the 3 as well, finding himself only 3 points off of his teammate there, Gabe Ellison. Michael Mullins, Sheldon Atkins, also the only other guys up over 20 points so far. But it runs all the way back there to Thomas Stokes and Tim Bruce, who are going to have another crack at it here tonight. It's been a bad couple of weeks for some of those guys on the right-hand side of the screen, but a fresh opportunity to try and rally and rebound here tonight.
And Clinton Sneed missing 2 weeks in a row, so his ability to stay in this top 12 speaks volumes about how much of a gap he had, but now with the reset, he cannot afford another week off. Chase ready to go here from Phoenix. A quick look at the racetrack. Opened in 1964. Avondale, Arizona, 1 mile in length, 8 to 11 degrees of banking, 3 degrees on the straightaway. It's that dogleg tunnel turn that it's not a tunnel turn, but it is that dogleg that has been extended out. Kind of changes the way you approach this racetrack. You can shave a lot of time if you're brave enough to drive down there.
Yeah, you absolutely can. There is a whole lot of time to be gained here, but anytime you get off the immediate racing surface, it can definitely disrupt the balance of the car, and that's something you got to keep in mind when you go down there. So it'll be a measure of risk versus reward here tonight, and I think we'll see a lot of drivers try and capitalize on that dogleg at the freshest opportunity.
Speaking of which, the opportunities for tire sets should be at a premium here tonight. This track, very flat, very fast, and it's going to chew the right rears off of these Generation 4 stock cars. So 4 of those available, 110 laps, the stage end at lap 55. Of course, here in the SimRacerHub.com Challenge Series, we stay green during our stage breaks. Only points are awarded, and we will carry on. There are no scheduled cautions. So with that, we'll take a quick look at the schedule. and Indianapolis up next. This 5-race chase is picturesque of what used to be on the schedule back in 2006, 2007. And Phoenix, of course, the feature in the finale now, but Homestead at this time in 2006, 2007, that was the place to go, and that was where championship was hosted.
Yeah, and it was still pretty fresh off its repave there. Homestead in 03 was when it got repaved, so this version of it should be a fun one as well when we get to it. 5 races for these 17 drivers to try and duke it out here. It's been a fun season to this point through the opening 15. A lot of really good action across the track. Had some stellar races the past couple of weeks, and we'll see what Phoenix has got in store here to kick off the chase. Hopefully something fun, because I have a feeling we're going to see a lot of familiar faces up at the front, and all of a sudden the points situation all the more critical than it was even just a week ago.
And so with that, we will take you trackside now. Get the grid up on your screen. It's another pole award. I bet you're never going to guess who got it this time. Michael Mullins with another one, 26.802. That is cooking around this place, a full 10th faster than Sheldon Atkins in the number 81. So congratulations to Michael Mullins, starting the chase off right for week 1. Run number 2 goes to Michael Sturgill. Michael Garone will start in 4th position. Those whole shot motorsports drivers always seeming to be near each other at the start. Casey Carrington, your points leader into tonight. He will start in the 5th position with Thomas Stokes in 6th. 7th, Gabe Ellison. He's on the point here. Not far back. Going to try to reclaim that points lead after tonight. Josh Taylor to his outside. Craig Martin in the 22. Josh Dillon in the 12 are going to round out row number 5 for your top 10.
And the rest of the field on the screen now. Dylan Rosenberg in the 91 rolling off 11th. Daniel Drew, his teammate, rolling off 12th in the 92. And row 7 tonight, Clinton Sneed in the 49. Jose Ruiz electing not to take a time this evening. And that is the 14-car field ready to go tonight.
So with that, we see our aerial blimp camera. We are testing out some Casey cams. Thanks to Casey Carrington for sending us those cameras, as we'll try to get some live action shots on board these cars with some new angles and perspectives. So I might try them out. We'll see how good they look. I'm excited.
Yeah, prime opportunity, fresh opportunity for these drivers with the chase ahead of them. Fresh opportunity for us up here in the booth to try out a couple of new looks. Could be a fun little way to kick the chase off here.
Just cycling through all of the onboards here with Michael Mullins as we get set to go green. 110 miles for chase race number 1. We're in the Arizona desert to settle out the first race, and the SimRacerHub.com Challenge Series is about to be underway. Here we go. From Phoenix, green flags out. We're live and racing on V-Speed. You gotta love the camera work here. Doing an amazing job. That's the backstretch camera. Goodbye to lead lap number 1, though. It will be Mullins. He pulls out about 0.3 of a second. He was brave enough to cut that dog leg on that first lap, but it doesn't look like anybody's going to try it the second time around.
Yeah, when you're not at full speed, it's a lot easier to take that section of the track. The moment you're up to full speed, though, a lot more to be concerned about when you flatten out the car off the racing line and have to get back onto the track. That's the part that gets drivers particularly concerned. Not necessarily getting down to the dog leg, but getting back onto the track after the fact, especially in these Gen 4 cars where there's not been a whole lot of testing on what those cars will do trying to get back onto the racing line. So after that opening lap, a lot of folks just lucky to stay in that racing groove. You get a little battle here. Michael Sturgill, Sheldon Atkins trying to hold him off for second.
Sturgill, of course, coming off of couple decent weeks, but not what he really wanted. I know this guy likes to win. He has been in a drought for quite some time now. Through the season, it's been Casey Carrington and Gabe Ellison for the past probably, I'd say, 6 weeks, going back and forth on victories.
Yeah, now taking another look to the inside there as we jump a little further back. This is a battle with Stokes in their own. A new opportunity here for the 11 of Thomas Stokes. We had spent so much of this season thinking it was just the top 12 making it, but with it being the top 17, the 11 of Stokes finds his way into the chase here, and now a good qualifying position to kick off the run, and going to try and match that up with a good result here tonight. It has not been the best of seasons for the 11, but he's shown pace at times. It's just a matter of being there at the end. And right now he's trying to hold off Michael Garone for that fourth position.
Not a lot of passing going on here, and we did see a cut there from the 81. He tried it. First car to go down there. And the Miller Time call machine makes the call to the dog leg. He actually gained a little bit there on the 24 that last time by. 300ths of a second faster than Michael Mullins. Fastest car on the racetrack right now is actually that 81 machine.
Starting to reel in Mullins just a little bit there. You see the interval ticking down ever so slowly. Watching through the gyro cam here, trying to track down that Delta Airlines car up ahead. A little bit of a slide there for the 24. Is going to let the 81 pull in a little bit closer. The big thing for Sheldon Atkins, though, is he has to keep an eye to the mirror, because Michael Sturgill really is driving it deep into 3 and 4. Closes right up to the back bumper, and then the 81 able to create a little bit of distance through the back half of the track. But when they get back over to that side, Sturgill is all over the back bumper.
So as we watch this run progress, I think what we're going to see is passing happen later in the run when these tires get good and hot. Probably cooking the right front off of these things a little bit, especially with how deep they're driving it into 1 and 2.
Yeah, you know, doing that for a lap or two, you won't notice a huge difference. But if you're doing that every lap of the run, by the time we get to, you know, lap 50 or so, lap 60, those tires are going to really start to be hurting. And those who have been saving their tires a little bit more will start getting that advantage in spades. So as everything is kind of strung out here, it's immediately become a bit of a tire-saving battle amongst this top 10. Figuring out who's going to be able to outlast the cars around them and make their way toward the front.
Virgil last time by, 300ths of a second faster than both Michael Mullins and Sheldon Atkins. 3-car looking a little bit quicker, and it might be one of those deals where guys aren't passing because they're saving. But for Sturgill, he looks really fast through 1 and 2. He's able to drive in a lot deeper. We'll ride back on board with him. Watch us drive into the entry of 1. So much further in. He's a lot later. It's like he's trail braking on and off just to get that little bit of an advantage.
And he continues to close in, just has not been able to find a spot to make a move on Atkins yet. He's going to almost think about diving into the inside there, but it was very much in the old vortex of danger, as they say. He decided to not try and send it in there in 3 and 4 that time around. But it's been a pretty common theme here through these opening 11 and 12 laps. Anytime that the 3 gets a run, it's usually going into turn 3, and there's just nowhere to go with it.
Then Atkins will kind of counter that into 3 and 4. Drive away. See Sturgill all the way down to the bottom. Just hasn't been enough, and we've only seen one driver on the move so far. Thomas Stokes has gained 2 positions, gained them very early, got around Michael Garone and Casey Carrington. But since then, it's kind of went stagnant. I'm kind of watching here on the lap time. Stokes is holding with the leaders right now. When you give this guy some hope, he'll come out here and try to win a race as well. And it's been a drought for him, but you know, we know Stokes can do it. The 11's done it. Michael Carone's been close. Quite a few of these guys, anyone in this 14-car field could come up here and get a victory tonight.
Yeah, especially, I mean, looking at it, the lead cars have not really been able to pull away too much yet. Mullins leads by about half a second over Atkins. still have 5 cars within 2 seconds, and you got 8 within 3. So nothing really breaking away too much as we take a look here. That's the gap between Garone and Stokes. It's about 2 car lengths they made their way across the stripe. It's a bit of a longer gap back to Casey Carrington. The 43 kind of laying away here, and he's got Gabe Ellison right on his heels here.
So the two drivers that went back and forth all season long for the race wins, the points lead. They find themselves 6th and 7th position on the track right now. Quiet day for both of them thus far. You know that the 43 of Carrington just wants to remain ahead. That's his goal right now. We look back at the lead battle. 0.5 of a second. It's went dormant. The 24 Mullins is actually starting to lose a little bit of ground here.
And just when it seems like Mullins starts stringing together a couple laps in a row that really open up that gap on the 81, it's either the 81 has a really good corner or Mullins just doesn't hit the corner quite the way he wants, and he loses that really hard-earned 10th or 2 that he developed over a couple of laps, and we've seen that happen a couple times already here in the opening few.
Watching that gap shrink again here out of the exit of turn 2. Top 3 right on top of each other, about 0.5 second apart. Here's a move to the inside in 3 and 4. This might be the first pass we've seen in about 12 laps.
Sturgill now working the inside of Atkins. He kept looking to the inside in 3 and 4, lap after lap. Finally was able to get there last time. A little bit of contact as they go in the 1 and 2.
I think that was a product of just getting a little loose through that dog leg, being down there a little lower than maybe you were comfortable with. And Sturgill not able to complete that pass. Those two got racing side by side, gave a little bit more breathing room back to Mullins for the time being. But now that they've single filed back out, it looks like Sturgill and Atkins starting to gain back on the 24.
And now Sturgill will want to look to try and do the same thing again. Run 1/2 a lane higher, get on the throttle a little bit faster, then try and use that momentum potentially to dive back to the inside like he did a couple laps ago, but too far away that time. And they'll remain behind the 81. But as this battle continues, Thomas Stokes now within 2 car lengths of Michael Sturgill as well. You see the gap back to the Mike and Ike number 11. And that gap is starting to shrink a little bit with those 2 cars battling up ahead.
4/10 separate Stokes from Sturgill. Even less ground between Sturgill and Atkins. And the lead gap, it stayed right around 0.5 second. A little bit of a wide exit here for the 81. And these guys are very dormant here tonight. I know that you're conservative, especially in week 1 of the chase format. You don't want to go out there and challenge too much, push yourself too hard too early, because as hard as it was to get into this top 17, it's very, very easy to throw it all away in just a matter of seconds.
Yeah, and it looks like the 11 of Stokes actually caught a little bit of the apron off of 4, backed him up a little bit to Garone. So the 66 here might have a run through 1 and 2. Garone goes all the way up to the wall. Going to try and maybe diamond off the corner just a little bit to get a run down the back straightaway. But to your point there, Bradley, it really does feel like everyone right now is trying to just keep the tires on their respective cars, and you're not trying to do anything too crazy. As you see Stokes get a little loose, and he'll send it through the dog leg, trying to maintain some of that time. Slides up in front of the 66. Close moment there for Stokes, as he's now got Garone to the inside. Perhaps that's why everyone was starting to tiptoe around here a little bit. The moment you open it up, the car wants to step out on you.
It's a lot of horsepower that we're trying to hook up to this racing surface, and we've seen it at other places like Darlington, like Atlanta. Just very difficult to keep the power down. We'll see a little side-by-side up in front here briefly. Garone gets loose out of 4 rather. So turn 2 and turn 4, man, I've still never been able to get it down. See a wiggle here from Mullins. He's all the way down at the bottom of the racetrack, as now Sturgill's to the outside for second. He might get it this time by
The outside car had the advantage the last 2 times these cars were side by side, and it looks like that'll be the case once again. This time it's Sturgill, though, completing the pass, moving up to P2. And for as much battling as we were seeing there between Sturgill and Atkins, Michael Mullins never got more than 0.6 of a second ahead. So I'm curious now, with the 81 in his rearview mirror, does Sturgill have something under the hood to try and track down the leader now?
When we see the lead start to dwindle away, it was a tenth faster last time by, even though he was working around Sheldon Atkins. Keep an eye on that delta on the right side of your screen.
Yeah, that number continues to shrink. About another 10th gone that lap. And I think we're starting to see that point in the run where some of these guys who maybe were saving a little bit more on their tires are starting to come to it. Casey Carrington and Gabe Ellison have caught the back bumper of Michael Garone and Thomas Stokes, and there is a train of cars swarming from 4th on back here.
Of course, you can see the yellow banners on all of these machines indicating that they are part of this chase format. Yellow spoilers on the backs. Oh boy, pressure is on from Gabe Ellison to Casey Carrington into 1 and 2.
And these 2 cars, 1-2 in the chase points coming into tonight. But I also wonder right now, where is their priorities? Is it passing one another or trying to get around the 66 and the 11? Because the 3 of Michael Sturgill very much having a better day than the 2 of them right now. He wasn't too far behind him in the points coming into tonight. So right now, Sturgill's sitting pretty. Casey Carrington, Gabe Ellison, still some work to do. You see the 27 continues to try and find a way around the 43, but just nothing going. As Carrington almost got a run to the inside of Garone there off of 2. They'll settle back in up into the wall on the back straightaway.
This is where the moment gets kind of stressful. You know you're faster than a guy in front of you, but you can't find a pocket or a clean pass. And so you try to make that happen by driving deeper into the corner, maybe get your nose in, and that's what I was worried about right there with Stokes.
Oh, good save.
3 wide off of 2. What a save there for Thomas Stokes.
Can't imagine he's too pleased with how that transpired. He ended up losing 4 spots in that if Josh Taylor is able to clear him. It was a phenomenal save to at least keep himself pointed in the right direction. Take a look at the replay. That got really, really tight. And yeah, just the 11 and the 66, different cornering speed, but a phenomenal save from Stokes. He did a better job to make sure he didn't lose it when it almost snapped around on him again. So he settles back into the 7th position here. He was able to retain that spot over Josh Taylor. But has some work to do now to try and get back up there. The big winner in that whole thing was Casey Carrington. He was able to get around both the 11 and the 43. You see Garone get shuffled out of line a little bit. Now Ellison up to 5th.
Lead is down to just about 0.2 of a second. Sturgill has caught the 24 of Mullins. Can he do anything with it, though? That's the next question. Catching him's one thing, passing's another. Both of them running almost identical lap times these last couple laps.
You see they have started to really open up a gap here. Nearly 2 seconds back to Sheldon Atkins. It is really just Michael Mullins and Michael Sturgill here running up at the point, checking out from the rest of the field. But, the rest of the field's kind of caught up in their own battle there with what we just saw that transpired between the 66 and the 11 and that whole group. And speaking of which, it looks like those 2 cars have found each other back on track. Stokes right to the back bumper of Garone here down the back straightaway. Got Josh Taylor in the mix for position there as well. Ellison and Carrington going to battle. Now that there's some little bit of tire wear happening, we are seeing some battles all throughout this top 10.
And sitting right around 20 laps to go for this stage break. These guys were saving to get the positions late in the run. Josh Taylor down pit road.
The 7 going to be the first car down pit road Bold move here from Josh Taylor. Going to try and get some fresh tires on it and, you know, maybe hit the rest of the field with the undercut. Meanwhile, back up front, Sturgill a car length away from Michael Mullins there down the front straightaway. What has he got for the 24 this time around going down the backstretch?
I'm watching the 3. He's got a little bit different entry into these corners, and it hasn't really been tearing up the tires. I'm impressed that he's been able to do that and keep it consistent. You know, a lot of guys would have burned the right front off of it at this point, especially with how low he is entering the corner. Going to double diamonds 1 and 2. He's going to get the nose to the inside of the 24 down the backstretch. Just not enough momentum on the exits. So tough to do.
Yeah, the most important thing, it feels like, with the way these cars have been running in this setup, you got, big wiggle there for the 24. I'll go back to that thought in a moment. That might open the door for Sturgill here in 1 and 2. Mullins got all types of loose out of 4, and that has opened up the door to the inside. The 3 right on the door as they make their way off the corner. Is he going to be able to hold it there? Not this time around.
And I'm sure Sturgill's starting to get a little bit frustrated because he knows that he can turn a faster lap time if he could get out there to that clean air.
Yeah, and to the point that almost happened a moment ago, it does seem like, especially with this setup, if you are stuck on the inside here, you can't make a pass in 1 and 2. You just don't get the momentum you need off the corner. It almost feels like you got to do what Sturgill did to Atkins a few laps ago, which either find a way to get to the outside of the car in front of you, or, if nothing else, stay right in the tire tracks of the car in front of you through 1 and 2 to try and set something up to go to the inside in 3 and 4. We've seen Sturgill have some success with both of those options here, but has not been able to find his way around the 24 of Mullins. You see Mullins aptly defending the high side here, on that higher lane, forcing the 3 to try and find something down low. And that something just has not been there for Michael Sturgill so far.
15 laps to go in the stage when they cross the line this time by. Mullins has held on to it thus far, led every single lap from the pole. Sturgill wants to take it away from him and tee off this championship run for the 3 team, who in my opinion started out hot but have, oh man, Mullins is trying like hell to save this thing down the backstretch.
He is getting all he can out of that car right now, and he's getting all he could ever ask for in this battle with Sturgill. An unrelenting pressure here from the 3 has kept the 24 on his toes every corner of the past 10 laps. And there's not been a break from it. At some point here, something's going to have to give between one of these two. And you can see the 24 of Mullins wheeling that thing off of every corner at this point.
All the way down the backstretch, I think he made it about a half a mile longer than it was, just trying to save it.
And through all of that, still finds a way to hold on to that top spot right now over the 3. You see Mullins continues to defend the high side, but every time he goes in there, the 3 runs that middle lane trying to get some runoff as well. So if there's any point that the 3 can start getting some throttle down off of 2 from that middle lane, it might be a really tough situation for the 24.
So the trick to this car I've learned is to never not be on a pedal. You just transition from brake to gas as smooth as possible, but you never want to be open pedal at any point. That's where they get that ill handling. But finding that happy spot on the throttle on these exits, as you see the 24 bobble a little bit there, allowed the 3 of Sturgill to the inside. We have 10 to go here when they cross. This is right on the edge. Sturgill still not able to complete it.
I was really wondering there if Sturgill was going to think about trying to dive into the dogleg when they were side by side at the line. Try and cut down that track as much as possible. Maybe give himself a run in the 1, but elected not to do that, and ultimately is still stuck here behind Mullins. Boy, that man is going to be flying anything other than Delta when this thing's all said and done. When they leave the track here tonight, he's going to be sick of looking at that logo.
Battle going on back here for 4th position as well. Gabe Ellison trying to get around Casey Carrington. This has been going on for some time. They dive to the inside. Atkins in the top 3, who's been holding on to this 3rd spot as the front 2 have pulled away about a full 2 seconds.
Yeah, while we've been watching that battle for the lead, this one's also been brewing for a while now. Not only Carrington and Ellison, but they've also been reeling in Sheldon Atkins as well. It's been a good little battle here, 3rd, 4th, and 5th, but they do find themselves still about 2 seconds off of the lead right now. So the same problem that we've been seeing Sturgill have with Mullins is the same problem the 43 and 27 have had here with Atkins in the 81.
Another peek to the inside into 3 and 4, 27 down to the bottom. Can he complete the pass? He's going to get a little loose. Opportunity presents itself again. Nothing there. We're going to go by with another lap of being stuck where you are.
Yeah, they talk about, sometimes in these newer cars it's so tough to pass, and that's definitely the case. But we are seeing tonight this particular layout of track also makes it incredibly tough to pass when you have to be so careful on the throttle coming off that low lane on both corners of the track here tonight. It's made it really tough to get a run to the inside, and I think all the drivers recognize that and have done a good job defending that high side. And as I say it, Ellison almost gets a nose to the outside of Carrington there. Curious if he's going to do anything with this run here going into 3.
He will, but I don't think he wants to. I think it's one of those moments where being down there on that bottom groove is just not going to be enough. Smoked the wall there for the 81 of Atkins. Coming out of turns 3 and 4. He's going to lose a ton of time here.
Yeah, Carrington gets right to his back bumper. And as that's happening, Sturgill within 1/10 of a second there on Mullins, but now has to fall back as well. I mean, this top 5, only a couple laps here remaining in the stage, and it is anybody's bet how this top 5 is going to look when we hit the line.
Stage ends at lap 55. Got 4 more opportunities here for Michael Sturgill to try to snag away this lead from your pole sitter, Michael Mullins. Hasn't had quite the opportunity for a few laps, though. I don't know if he's backing up these corners a little bit to try a big run. He is keeping the pressure on the 24. Big wiggle across the line.
That might open the door for Sturgill again. Wow, look at how hard the 24 drove it in. Yeah, he drove it in way too deep. Contact with the outside wall. This is the opportunity for Sturgill to try and capitalize. He's trapped to the inside here as they go into 3 and 4.
Connect at the line, still can't complete the pass. Man, that's frustrating. I know Sturgill gets loose there. He touches that apron just ever so slightly. Sends that car.
I would be bashing my steering wheel right now if I was Michael Sturgill. I can't imagine the frustration behind the wheel. You've kept the pressure on for the better part of 20 laps here coming to the stage end. The 24 gets into the wall in 1 after overdriving the entrance at the corner. And after a full lap of running door to door, still not able to complete that pass. And man, that's just got to be incredibly taxing on, your mental as a driver, knowing that you've got probably the faster car of the 2 and you just physically cannot find a way around the car in front of you. That being said, a defensive masterclass from Michael Mullins. He is doing a phenomenal job holding on to the lead here.
White flag in the air. This is the last time by for this stage. Michael Mullins, who started on the pole, he's led every single lap. Man, he sends it into, 1 and 2, almost loses control. And the 3 of Sturgill is going to decide to pit here, interestingly enough.
Yeah, so Sturgill going to pit early. It's going to cost him a ton of points.
Yeah, I don't
as far
agree
as
with
the stage is concerned. So Michael Mullins going to pick up the stage win. Boy, did he have to earn that stage victory tonight. He's led every lap so far, but he has had to fend off a lot of really fast race cars.
Yeah, I don't know that Sturgill knew the stage ended at 55. I don't think he would have came down pit road.
We're seeing other cars now making their stops. Adkins and Carrington down. Oh, Adkins is sideways. Adkins is sideways on the pit lane. He spun just in front of Casey Carrington and Gabe Ellison when they came down to make their stops. Look what happened here to the 81.
Wow.
I don't know if he caught the 27 or the 27 had to avoid that or what, but he also got a little sideways there. No, he just avoided them.
Any advantage there for the 27? He made up a lot of ground on Casey Carrington there through the entrance of pit road, but anything he had gained was ultimately lost because the 81 was sideways there in the entry of pit road.
Yeah, so he honestly is going to come back onto the track here about the same distance he was behind him, and now the leader, Michael Mullins, going to come down pit road, which should give a lap lead to a new driver for the first time this evening. The 24 makes his stop. I do believe it'll be Michael Garone potentially getting his first lap lead of the race.
So now this is the strategy. Do you extend this run out a few more laps? I think I like what Garone and Stokes and a few others are doing right now. By staying out and extending this run 3 or 4 laps, we've seen how hard it is to pass. It might alleviate some of that. If you have a 4-lap difference on tires, you might find yourself able to complete that pass on the inside.
Yeah, and I think that could ultimately be the winning move, because if this thing stays green the whole way, that 5 or 6 lap tire advantage is going to be oh so critical over the course of about a 50-lap run. So this could be a huge move from the 66. Right now, Michael Sturgill behind him, the first car a lap down. He's going to go around the 66 there, getting his lap back. And I wonder if that's the signal now for Garone to come down pit road, knowing that the lead cars are starting to get back onto the lead lap here.
Even though he might have given up those stage points, the 3 of Sturgill has put on quite the gap back here to Mullins. It's over 4 seconds, 5 seconds back to Michael Mullins here in the 10th position. So Sturgill will probably cycle out to be your leader after these top 5 pit. As you're seeing now, Josh Dillon and Thomas Stokes bringing it in for service. There's Clinton Sneed in the background, pitting from 5th spot. Some cars coming off of pit road. The 22 of Craig Martin finishing up his service. And it's yet to be done here for Garone as he lets Casey Carrington and Gabe Ellison by.
It's going to be worth noting, Mullins is on a couple lap fresher tires, but he is a lot of distance to try and make up here. He still has not caught up to the lead lap to get around the 66 of Garone. As I do believe Garone now coming down pit road this time, so the pit cycle will officially be complete here, I believe. Or actually, Jose Ruiz, Josh Taylor still need to stop as well, but we will have a new leader once again. And this will be very interesting to see what kind of distance the 66 has to make up. He extended that an extra 8 laps over the 3 of Michael Sturgill.
Based off my math here, it looks like the 66 is probably going to cycle out around the 8th position here. Not sure, maybe 6-7 seconds back. We'll have to wait and see. As Garone is now getting the right sides up. That's quite the gap. It was a little conservative here on the entry to pit road as well. Josh Taylor, who brought it down very early. He has 28 lap old tires, but he's going to get some laps led.
It's going to be a very short-lived. He might get 2. I doubt he gets 3, because Michael Sturgill directly on his back bumper here down the front straightaway. And that's the difference between about 10 lap and 30 lap old tires. And if the 3 is able to drive past the 7 that easily, I am really curious to see if Garone's able to fly through this field in a similar fashion on 8 lap fresher tires than everyone else who came down at the stage.
I want to say that it was very conservative. He lost almost 8 seconds there from where he had pitted originally, came down pit road. And that time through the lane, it was 51.6 seconds, whereas Michael Sturgill was 47.9. So almost a 3-second difference there between the two of those drivers.
And it'll take some work to get back up toward the front of the field here. But tire-wise, he's put himself in a really good situation. But track position-wise, here's a great battle between the 2 points leaders, Casey Carrington, Gabe Ellison, 3rd and 4th. And I tell you what, rather, we've seen these two cars glued together all night tonight, very much the way we've seen most of this season, but especially this evening. These two guys have been lockstep every lap tonight.
Now the backstretch, 1/10 of a second, going into 3 and 4. Gabe Ellison just waiting for Casey Carrington to make a mistake. Almost got the pass away there on pit road, but an opportunity that had presented itself quickly dissipated after the 81 of Atkins got sideways. Sheldon Atkins back in 7th now, about 12.5 seconds back. He was in the top 3 when he came down pit road.
So a big shakeup through the field here. Also noticing that the 92 of Daniel Giroux off and out of this race. First car that will be scored as a DNF this evening. And for those cars who, through this pit cycle here, there's a couple of cars who could be in jeopardy of getting lapped here pretty shortly. Clinton Sneed, Craig Martin, Jose Ruiz, not a big gap to Michael Sturgill. And that 3 car is starting to close in on him.
So a perfect opportunity here to find that remote control, the volume knob, whatever you got to do to get that volume up. And let's get loud here on V-Speed, presented by 29 Graphics.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Back here live at Phoenix Raceway in the SimRacerHub.com Challenge Series. They've completed about 3/4 of this event so far, caution-free. And your stage winner, Michael Mullins, is up to 4th position, trying to chase down Casey Carrington, Gabe Ellison, and Michael Sturgill. Perfect opportunity to pay some bills here for Sim Racer Hubs in their Challenge Series. So we show you the presenting sponsors, Admin Box, Aspiration Homes, and last but not least, Rapid Fired Pizza. The first Rapid Fired Pizza opened its doors in 2015 in Dayton, Ohio. The idea was simple: make delicious, fast, and affordable pizza. Now in 25 cities across the country, customers love the fresh taste, the speed, and the ability to create their own perfect pizza with over 35 different toppings and sauces. You can go to www.rapidfiredpizza.com for a location near you. So back to the live shot here as Sturgill goes through 3 and 4. The lead about 2 seconds here. Kind of the biggest lead that we've seen all day from any driver, and cycle through on those green flag pit stops. It just shows how much time you can make up simply entering pits and practicing that time and time again.
Yeah, and I tell you what, we were really questioning Sturgill's decision to come down pit road the lap of the stage. Lost out on a ton of stage points he was going to get otherwise, but as they run right now, that track position gain from running one fewer lap on those burnt out tires has given him a healthy advantage, and the 43 and 27 aren't catching him all that quickly. It's been a very slow grind here for Carrington and for Ellison, so far things looking pretty solid for Michael Sturgill.
Carrying on, Gabe Ellison just within a couple tenths there. That's been kind of the same that we've seen all race long. It just worked up a couple positions. You saw that accident there with the 81 of Sheldon Atkins, who's back in 5th position. He's settled back down now. He was back in 7th, so he's picked back up where he was a little bit of the ground anyway. But he has an 11-second deficit to Michael Mullins. It looks like a top 5 day for Atkins, what could have been a podium day for the 81.
Yeah. Been a frustrating run here, I think, for the 81. Had some great pace in qualifying. He's just not been able to keep up, especially through the pit cycle. That spin really cost him, and now trailing about 11 seconds back to Michael Mullins for the 4th position at this point. All eyes are behind him, just trying to stay in the top 5 as you've got Thomas Stokes and a surging Michael Garone closing up on him here.
And you were mentioning that during the break. Garone has about 8-9 lap pressure tires. He is about 4/10 faster than the drivers in the top 5. But does he get there in time? I think overall the tires are starting to even out a little bit here. Well, actually, last time he was only a 10th faster. I don't know if he has enough time to get up there. We only have about 20 or 30 to go here.
I think for Michael Garone, if he wants any chance of getting back up to the front, he needs to find his way around Thomas Stokes and Sheldon Atkins here in the next lap or two. Anytime they're spending battling each other is time that there is not clean racetrack for the 66 to go out there and run qualifying laps on those fresher tires. And every lap that passes, they equalize just a little bit more. So the 66, I think, needs to have some sense of urgency here if he's going to try and reel him in. But right now, battling pretty hard with the 11 of Stokes, who's had a pretty solid run outside of the contact with the 66 nonetheless. These two cars have found each other once again on track, but the 11 has put together a really solid race from start to finish so far. With a good qualifying effort, he's been running inside the top 7 all night long.
On the outside of Stokes for the 6th spot. Garone going to try to complete this pass. Hanging up there on the outside through 1 and 2. Not quite able to do it.
Be the advantage. And I do believe, yeah, I'll say the exit of 2 is so powerful on the high side. I would have been hard pressed to think that he wouldn't have had the advantage there, but he hasn't fully cleared Stokes yet. Now Stokes going to the dog leg. Going to try and keep this battle interesting.
Really
flying
in. But it's so difficult.
Wow.
Works him way up to the outside. Still not clear for the 66.
And
They got him.
force his way down. Yeah, that was a hard-fought position gained for Michael Garone, but those were several laps that ticked away, and maybe a bit of tire wear that did too. Trying to clear the 11 of Thomas Dozier did a phenomenal job trying to hold on to that spot. But now the 66, only one car in front of him before he gets to a lot of empty racetrack. And through all of that, Casey Carrington has closed off exactly 1/10 of a second to Michael Sturgill. That gap's still 1.7 here with 20 to go next time by.
And watching this deficit, Casey Carrington has a lap fresher tires, as of Gabe Ellison. Mullins 4 lap fresher tires. But I think for Mullins, it's just, I think it's too little too late. Now these tires have pretty much evened out. Even if he is a 10th faster, we've seen it with Michael Garone. I don't think he has enough time to get around these front two. He might get up to second, but I don't think he's going to catch Sturgill.
Yeah, you see that gap continues to tick away. The big gainer here has been Mullins, who's cut off about a second to Casey Carrington and Gabe Ellison. However, catching these two will be one thing, getting by them entirely another thing. And then even if they do that, I mean, I don't know if there'd be enough time for him to then go and track down Michael Sturgill. Yeah, that's certainly not going to help either.
A little tight there on the exit of turn 3 and 4. And not able to get clear of the 22. Greg Martin holding it up on the high line here. Mullins probably letting him know on the radio, hey, let me by. And with that, he loses a little bit of ground. Gap goes back to about 9/10.
And as these laps tick away, it looks more and more like it was Michael Sturgill who very much outsmarted the field here, lost the battle, but won the war as it's going on. He lost that stage point and the ability to get some of that, but he has put himself in perfect position here to try and snag the race win. And there's been no doubt about his pace tonight. We saw in that battle with Mullins in the first half of the race how quick that 3-car was. And the moment he got some clean air in front of him, he has just set sail.
Looking for some other battles on this racetrack. You've got Dylan Rosenberg, Jose Ruiz, Josh Dillon. 8th through 10th position, right on top of each other. It's Dylan Rosenberg, who has a playoff berth coming into tonight, but just a little bit out of the pace here and has a little bit of left front damage on that 91.
Yeah, it's been there for a little while, too. I don't know entirely what's happened to Dylan Rosenberg or when that occurred, but he's been nursing some left front damage for at least the past 15 or so laps here. And it is, I think, holding up his pace just a little bit. You see how far the gap is from him to Stokes, but he's got 2 cars hot on his heels right now in Jose Ruiz and Josh Dillon. So it looks like it'll be a likely top 10 finish if he's able to keep this thing in one piece. But whether that is 8th, 9th, or 10th remains to be seen, as he's got a couple of hungry cars directly behind him.
Look to the inside for Ruiz. A challenging part of the place to make a pass, but he's going to try it. Will he get a run off of 1 and 2? Oh, he touches the apron a little bit. Loses that ground.
And that might open the door for Josh Dillon to try and get in there and capitalize. Closed up about a car length and a half there to the 6, but no further. Is now the 6 set sail once again, trying to get to the back bumper of the 91. We jump back there. There is the leader, Michael Sturgill. Still a 1.8 second gap over Casey Carrington. He has been doing a phenomenal job maintaining that gap back to the 43. Carrington and Ellison have not been able to make any forward headway here against Michael Sturgill.
And if you remember last week, we had a driver that hadn't been part of this championship all season come out and get a win to wrap up the regular season at Legacy, Texas. Nowhere to be found tonight. I believe it was the 98, Smith.
Jump on board here with the 27 of Gabe Ellison, who is starting to fall back just a little bit from Carrington. About a 3/4 gap now. It was much closer a few laps ago. The 27 sitting in a podium position right now, trying to track down Casey Carrington, but for the chase points standing situation, this is a critical pass for Gabe Ellison to try and make. Because if he's able to swing past the 43, not only would it give him a couple extra points, it would take away some points from Casey Carrington and shrink that gap even closer, especially if they're both going to be losing out on a win here potentially to Michael Sturgill. As we've got 10 laps to go, and they are still 1.7 seconds off from the 3 machine.
We talked about how Gabe Ellison wasn't able to beat Casey Carrington in that stage, so there's the one instance he's already behind in the points coming into this week because of the reset. And Carrington doesn't have to come out here and win the race. He just has to focus on finishing ahead of that 27 every week he has here. And so right now, the way it sits, if he does this every single race, he doesn't much care. He just has to finish ahead in the stage and the race. And with Sturgill missing out on those stage points, he's probably not going to gain as much as what Casey Carrington did in this one.
Yeah, and I think that could be a very noteworthy turn of events as this just chase proceeds, you know. I think if this gets really close down the stretch, we're going to come back to this race and talk about that moment. You see here still as they go in the 1 and 2, that gap just not coming down for the 27 or the 43. Neither one of them able to really make any forward headway, and Michael Mullins has lost out a lot of time to these two guys. He was within a second of them, now back 2.5. And he is in no man's land right now because he is still 10 seconds clear of Sheldon Atkins. So Michael Mullins going to have to kind of settle in for what will likely be a 4th place finish here tonight.
Barone has some left front damage, not sure where he picked it up, but I can tell you this. There's a car in front of him that's got quite the gap here.
He was battling with Sheldon Atkins not too long ago. They were both clear of the 11. I wonder if it had something to do in a battle potentially with him. Go back and see if I can take a look here. Oh, actually, I think the 66 may have got loose off of 2 a couple laps ago and ended up bouncing off the inside wall. I think that's where that left front damage came in. And it's going to cost him a couple of positions in the closing moments of this one.
See if we can find that incident there.
I believe it was here coming off of turn 2. The 66 tries getting a run and just loses it.
You got the nose to the inside here. There it starts to step out. There's the wall.
A heavy bit of contact too.
That ultimately does it in there for Garone, and what he was probably going to get top 5 with that speed, just not able to do so on a clean pass. Josh Dillon just set the session's fastest lap with 4 laps to go. Came back down pit road. He's in 10th here. He's challenging Dylan Rosenberg for 9th.
And with the 91 having a little bit of left front damage, this could be a position achievable here for the 12. Josh Dillon going to try and pry away 9th place here with a couple laps left.
Rosenberg doing a heck of a job with that damage and older tires defending against. Josh Dillon, it's actually Rosenberg defending there, and we wrap up to 3 laps to go. These drivers at threat of going a lap down. You see Casey Carrington, Gabe Ellison, that battle tightened back up with 2 laps left. Can the 27 get around?
Took a look there through 3 and 4. Wasn't able to make it work. He's only going to have a couple sets of corners left to try and make something happen here if he's going to steal 2nd place away from Casey Carrington. Carrington going to plant that car in the middle of 1 and 2. Not giving the 27 much of any options here down the back straightaway.
And Gabe Ellison gets really loose there on the exit of 1 and 2, but he's going to dive it deep into 3 and 4. White flag in the air one more time around for Michael Sturgill. Just a phenomenal drive all race long. Was able to take away the lead from your pole sitter, Michael Mullins, with a short pit on the stage. Out of 1 and 2 for the final time. Doesn't look like Gabe Ellison can get around Casey Carrington. And Michael Sturgill, with a 1.5 second lead, will come across the line for week 1 of the chase. Sturgill, the winner at Phoenix.
That was a phenomenal drive there from Michael Sturgill. Was patient in the first stage trying to get around Mullins. Then, with the pit strategy, got the track position he needed, never looked back. Phenomenal work there from the driver of the 3. And tell you what, it was pretty close at the line between Casey Carrington and Gabe Ellison. Ellison, though, coming up just a little bit short, about 1/10 of a second separating those two as they made their way to the stripe.
And burning it down on the front stretch, Michael Sturgill, after this all cycles through, should be really close, if not in the points lead. Congratulations to the number 3, the SimRacerHub.com, Lexus. Since 2009, SimRacerHub.com has been the premier destination for iRacing league scoring. Our mission is to provide you with the most comprehensive and user-friendly tools to manage your league schedules, results, points, and stats. Plus, our highly active Discord community is always ready to assist you with any questions or issues. Ready to take the plunge? Create a league today and join our community of passionate sim racers. You can find out more at SimRacerHub.com. Michael Sturgill going to victory lane here tonight for week 1 of the chase. We'll have those final results and post-race interviews with your top 3 here on V-Speed. More coverage will continue in the SimRacerHub.com Challenge Series right after this.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Back here live at Phoenix Raceway, the SimRacerHub.com Challenge Series has concluded its 110 miles at Phoenix Raceway in Arizona. And Avondale put on a great show. Wire-to-wire green flag. It was Michael Mullins getting the stage win with 0 cautions and 3 lead changes. Michael Sturgill, after starting in 3rd, will come out victorious to start off week 1 of the chase. Casey Carrington, he had the points lead coming into tonight. He's going to beat Gabe Ellison, who was tight and close there in 2nd position in the points, 3rd spot for the 27. We'll get interviews with them just momentarily. Michael Mullins, your pole sitter, he led the vast majority of laps today, but ultimately not able to recover all that lost ground. He'll finish in 4th. Sheldon Atkins, who spun on pit road, he lost the top 3 possible podium finish here tonight for the 81. He had the pace, but finishes 5th. Thomas Stokes, he flirted with the top 3 a couple times today as well, but he'll finish 6th right where he started. Michael Garone had a mistake out of turn 2 and got a little damage there. Looks like the 66 team is going to round out 7th. Jose Ruiz, a solid night for the 6 team. He'll finish in 8th. Dylan Rosenberg, the lowest here in the top 10 of your chase drivers. He'll finish 9th. And then Josh Dillon will round out your top 10.
Rest of the field this evening here, 11th, Clinton Sneed, the last car on the lead lap there on the 49 machine. Josh Taylor really tried extending that opening stage, or really undercut the opening stage. and just wasn't able to make that strategy work. That caution he was looking for never came. He'll finish 12th. Greg Martin, 13th tonight. Daniel Giroux, the only DNF, finishing 14th this evening.
And with that, we'll take you trackside now and bring up a couple of these drivers to talk to. First one to bring in is your third place finisher, Gabe Ellison. Gabe Ellison in the booth. You got a copy?
I got you.
Well, Gabe, you came into tonight with a lot of frustration. It looked like the opportunity presented itself on the entrance to pit road. You were very aggressive there, but then the 81 of Sheldon Atkins that kind of put up a roadblock there and gave all of that gain back. Really not a lot of opportunities to pass on this track tonight.
Yeah, I just figured instead of passing, I think it would just be more fun to look at the back of Casey's car for about an hour, so I just did that instead.
Yeah, I know that's frustrating, and this track though, this combination, how difficult was it to actually get this car to hook up? It looked like you guys were struggling out of two, especially, and then through the dog leg, it would just get unpredictably loose.
Yeah, it was definitely tough. The dog leg, once you got 30 laps in, it was really hard to keep it together through there. It made it really hard to do any real side-by-side racing, and then the top, if you put it inside, I mean, there's no point in even trying to pass someone on the inside unless you were significantly faster, because they could just roll the top, get a run off, and off they go. And where you couldn't really get grip out of 4 to cut the dog leg, like that's where you could usually make it up. But just one of them things. I did have a good opportunity there entering pit road, but shit happens, and that happened. So I'm happy that I didn't hit him and didn't crash myself. So I mean, all in all, I got third on a track that I don't really think I'm that good at anyway. So I think it'll be all right.
Gabe coming into tonight, second in points, probably going to retain that, but it's going to be a little bit more of a gap. We know that going into next week at Indy, one of the tracks that you probably favor have circled on the schedule. What do we have in store for the 27 there?
Yeah, I think that should be a good one. It's a unique one. You got 4 corners that are pretty much all, I guess 1 and 3 and 2 and 4 are kind of the same, but definitely a very unique track, and tire saving will be a huge factor there. So I do look forward to that aspect of it. Probably should try to get some practice and try to figure out. I don't think I've ever drove this thing around there before, but that being said, I do think that'll be a good race.
Gabe Ellison, third place here tonight for Whole Shot Motorsports. Anybody you want to shout out while we have you in the booth?
Congrats to Michael for getting the win there. That's a great start for him to start the chase here. Good race to Casey as well. We kept it respectful when we were within 2-3 tenths most of the night, so good racing there. And then huge shout out to everybody for showing up, and VSP in the booth.
Appreciate your time, Gabe.
Thanks.
Third place finisher in the number 27 coming into tonight, second in points, probably going to be there after tonight, but hard fought. Like you said, stayed within 2-3 tenths. So the guy that you're about to talk to here on pit road, it's Casey Carrington down with Alex Gagnon.
Hey there, Casey. You got a copy?
Is the race over yet? Yeah, I'm here.
I do suppose it was one of those kind of events here tonight. It looked to be next to impossible to make some on-track passes tonight. What were you seeing from your end?
Yeah, the only 3 passes I made were 2 guys running into each other and then 1 guy spinning out in the pits. So it was quite a night. It was a good happy hour for us. Looking forward to the race tomorrow night. Hopefully we'll be able to move up through the field. But yeah, I kind of had a feeling it was going to go that way, and could have predicted a lot of this tonight, including who won. But hey, I'm just happy to hang on to second place. I know I had a bit of a points buffer coming into it, and I'm glad I didn't get wrecked, didn't have any shenanigans happen, and I'll take a podium. I don't like this place whatsoever, and I'm not very good here. So second place is probably the tip top of my ceiling for this kind of track, so I'll take it.
Yeah, so talk to us a little bit. I mean, you did make a couple of passes with other cars running into some issues tonight, but you still did have to battle with Gabe Ellison, not only in the points situation, but on track tonight. He was on your back bumper the better part of most of the evening. Was there any concern about the way you were running, trying to keep the tires on it so he wouldn't get around you, or were you pretty confident that he was going to have the same issues you were having out there trying to make a pass?
Yeah, I had a lot of issues with the dirty air behind Mullen or Sheldon on the first run, so I knew like, well, he's got two cars in front of him, so it's probably gonna be sliding around even more for him. And yeah, I was worried. I knew if he got around me, there was no moving forward, so I had to keep him behind me. I was worried about the pit cycle there, and then obviously the spinning Miller cane or the rolling Miller cane down pit road kind of equalized things there and beat him out of the pits. And yeah, honestly, I knew the second run that it was going to be next to impossible for him to pass me unless I screwed up. So my main goal was to not screw up. Yeah, I kind of regretted it a little bit. I thought maybe I could have made up a little more time on Sturgill and had a chance to make a run at him, but it was like I came out like 2.3 seconds or something behind him. Got it down to like 1.7, then it went back to 1.9, and I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna, overdrive my stuff and make a mistake and let Gabe get around me. I'm just gonna cruise, and if we get a caution, maybe I'll go for the win, but otherwise take a second place.
Ultimately, a second place it is. Good points day for you to kick off the run of the chase here, Casey. Anyone you'd like to shout out here this evening?
I'd like to shout out all the week sponsors. I'd like to shout out you guys for doing the broadcast. I'd like to shout out the drivers that showed up. Shout out Quentin for putting this on. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I'd like to shout out anybody that managed to pass somebody on track during that race. It was pretty tough to do. So yeah, looking forward to. I think it's Indy next week. That'll ironically the track with a bad reputation for racing quality is actually a lot of fun on here in this car. So looking forward to that one.
Alrighty, well, we're looking forward to it too, Casey. Thanks for dropping by, and best of luck to you next week as well.
Yep, thanks guys.
That is
Hey,
second
Carrington.
place finish. Yeah, one of these days I'll figure out if I'm doing that or you are.
Yeah, I never know either. Honestly, it's just one of those
always a
things that we've worked together for how long? About 2 years now, a year and a half. It's been a minute.
Yeah, about a year and a half, and we've been doing this one, weekly for the past 3 months or so, and
Yeah,
still, nothing's perfect.
we'll get a format one day.
Yeah, we will.
But as unscripted as it was here tonight, let's see how unscripted this guy can be. It's Whole Shot Motorsports driver Michael the Stick Sturgill. You come out here and dominate the second half of this race. You gave up stage points, and I'm interested to know, were you aware there at lap 55 that you were doing that? Was it the undercut? Was it part of your strategy? What was going on there?
Yeah, I wanted to go for the race win, and it was so hard to pass. I mean, I felt like I was way faster than Mullins there at the end of that long run, but all he had to do was roll the top, and I mean, I couldn't do anything. He got the wall one time even, and I got under him, and as soon as we come off the corner, he'd have that run off the top and just take off. So figured I'd sacrifice the stage points and try to go for the win.
Yeah, we could see how frustrating it was, and I believe it was Alex that said I'd be probably pounding the wheel at this point because of how frustrating it looked. We watched you guys run pretty much where you started for the first 50 laps.
Oh yeah, it was rough. I mean, I was struggling to get by Adkins there early. It really just took him making a mistake. I was able to pop up top and get to his outside, and that's literally the only way you could pass is if they royally screwed up and you could get up on their right rear and roll the top around them. Otherwise, I mean, the only other way I could see to pass was either in the pits or dooring them up the track, and it was too early for all that. So I figured I'd try it in the pits, and it worked out.
Well, Michael, you come into tonight there with that playoff berth. You got the yellow spoiler and splitter, but what does it take now going into Indy and then these next 4 weeks all together to sneak away and steal this championship?
Yeah, just putting together good runs throughout. The end of the regular season there was a bit rough for me, so I think having some momentum is good, and try to get good finishes the rest of the season. Maybe another win or two. That'd be nice, and we'll see what we can do.
Michael Sturgill, the winner here in week 1 of the chase. Anybody that puts that 3-car come to mind out on this racetrack?
Yeah, everyone, Whole Shot, Gabe, Michael, Clinton, you guys are putting on a great broadcast. I think the real number 3 won tonight, and the people I'm talking to know what that means. And I think that's got it done. Thank you guys.
Appreciate your time. Thank you for that. Always interesting what you're going to say. So thank you. Michael Sturgill and the real number 3 getting the victory here tonight from Phoenix. And with that, we look forward to next week here. It was pretty uneventful as a whole. I mean, caution free here tonight at Phoenix, but I think next week, that's the track where we're going to see a little bit more excitement.
Yeah, Indy's, this is going to be a really cool experience, I think. We're going to see a lot of runs develop down those long straightaways. These cars really good for slingshotting each other, and no better place to see that on display than a track like Indianapolis.
Well, I hope that I'm up in a comfortable booth and a comfortable chair, because I do not want to be in general admission at this place again. It was not fun the first time I visited this place in real life. But here we are, Indy. That starts November 26th at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. You can catch it here on VSpeed, as we'll have coverage all season long of the SimRacerHub.com Challenge Series. That's going to do it here for the coverage of this race in Phoenix Raceway. We've got another one in the books. Race number 2 of the chase coming up for the SimRacerHub.com Challenge Series. For everybody at VSpeed that made this possible, Adam Baker in the background for all he does, my co-commentator of the night, Alex Gagnon, this is Bradley Cooper telling you to have a great rest of your week. We'll see you back here on VSpeed this Saturday. Until then, stay tracking.